Okay, so what I'm doing tonight is I'm doing a video on my ebook that I normally give to everybody when they first come into my community. And it's called the Done For You Guide to Maintain Your Energy All Day. And I put this together because most of the clients I work with have this fatigue that sets in. Most of the time, it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. For some people, they're just tired and not very energetic all day long. But there seems to be this 3 o'clock lull where everybody has to reach for some sort of caffeine or coffee or sugar to make it through the rest of their shift in the afternoon or the rest of the day. And we're all really busy and we have a lot of things to do after 3 o'clock. So not everyone can take a nap. So we do these things like reaching for sugar to try to get ourselves back on track. So I'm going to go page by page and be as quick as I can, and then we'll do some questions afterwards. But basically, I just want to tell everyone a little bit about me. My name is Diava, and I've been in the health and wellness space for probably 15 plus years. I owned a wellness center for a while, and I've seen a lot of clients in my lifetime. And I first started out with people that had autoimmune conditions. I was kind of drawn and attracted to people that had Hashimoto's, a lot of stomach issues like Crohn's and IBS. And so my experience has been with very tricky cases. And so what I found with most of the cases is that we have some adrenal fatigue going on with most people. And what causes that and is at the foundation of those situations is a blood sugar imbalance. And for myself, I have a history of being sort of a sugar addict. I'm one of those people that has spent their whole life on a diet and always searching for, the latest health and wellness craze and diet and whatnot. And so after all this time and seeing all these people, I realize it's a little bit simpler than that, even though things are very complex in each person's body. We really just have a couple of things, foundational items that can contribute to the body healing itself and better and optimized health. So I'm focusing now, my whole, practice is mainly on diabetes, pre-diabetics, and helping people not only reverse their type 2 diabetes, but actually getting it into remission. I'm finding this little change in verbiage is really important because a lot of people can put their blood sugar in remission, their high blood sugar, and it seems to level out. But we eventually do want to reverse it. So we have to do things like dig into the stores that might be in the liver and some fat and glucose storage throughout the body. So that takes a little extra time. But so I created something called the Sugar Free Method, and I coach people online, and I have a course on how to do this. But tonight we are just focused on our energy guide. So I'm going to hop right to it because the first graph that we talk about is going to be about blood sugar and insulin. So I'm going to share my screen and we'll look at the first of two graphs. So the first graph is this. So this is what we all would like to have, our ideal balanced blood sugar. What is in the green graph is your body if you were in complete balance and didn't have any kind of diabetes or anything. This is what we all strive for. So this is what the body would have, typically 1 teaspoon of glucose going through the body at all times in the bloodstream. And the body likes to be balanced with just 1 teaspoon of sugar. And this is what your graph would look like if you had 1 teaspoon in your blood at all times. So what happens when your blood sugar is balanced is you have more energy. You know, you're energetic the way you're supposed to be. Your moods might be very balanced. Your hormones will be balanced. Things are pretty clear. So it's very rare that anyone has a graph like this. So that's okay, but the body's built to handle, you know, food coming in different situations. I just wanted you to see what the balanced blood sugar looks like and what the body strives for. Now let's take a look when people um, get on this, what we call the blood sugar roller coaster. Things look like this. Okay, let's change my share. So what happens when we start getting a little unbalanced and people are getting that afternoon lull and energy crashes during the day is we start off in the morning where this black line is on the left-hand side. So we wake up. And some people have some elevated blood sugar in the morning, but this is again, let's assume normal blood sugar first thing in the morning. So what happens is we'll eat a breakfast that's possibly high carby, sort of maybe a fruit juice. You might have cereal, you might have toast. And I know all my people are very educated, and so some of you don't do this, but the typical standard American diet, and what we feed our kids half the time too, is a breakfast like cereal or oatmeal or pancakes plus maybe some fruit juice. And so we start off with a very high load of food in general. And it's high refined food. So it's things that are processed in a machine like flours. That goes in the bread. It is things like the refined sugar or fruit juice that might be nice whole pieces of fruit, but if you're putting them in a processor and getting a very condensed juice, that's what we call processed. So what happens is you get this blood sugar spike because all that enters into the stomach lining very easily. So it's kind of like, in a way, it's like cocaine going into your nose. Okay, let's picture it like that, because that powder can go directly into your stomach and it immediately hits the bloodstream. It's not like some other foods that take a long time to get in there. So what's going to happen is we're going to have a spike. And at first we feel really good and energized because we've eaten food. But then what happens is the body sees that the blood sugar is a little bit too high. And anytime we're out of that range that's in the green, the body does its job and it wants to save you. So what it does is it shoots out a huge amount of insulin from the pancreas. And that is to shuttle all that blood sugar that has just entered your body into the cells. And so what happens is your body does a great job of that. And it has this now huge dip, as you can see, to where the first crash is going to happen because you have all this insulin, it's taking the glucose and it's shoving it into the cells. And it kind of it's like overkill a little bit. It probably takes too much sugar, so you have a crash. And then the body needs to adapt. And so either you're going to feel jittery, you're going to feel like you have low blood sugar or really low energy, and you are going to eat something to help your body out, or your body has some other ways of doing that. It will dive into the liver and pull some glucose out of storage. But no matter what, you have a crash. And if you grab for a snack or something sugary, you're going to, of course, feel much better. You're going to go back up through that green area, but you're going to have another spike. And then what's going to happen? Your body's like, oh my God, send the insulin. So then the insulin gets sent again, and it helps clear all the blood sugar, but you will possibly have another crash. And so then you go down again, and then you either grab for more food or a juice or something, and then the blood sugar goes back up. And as you can see, there's this roller coaster effect where you're crashing, you're eating more sugar possibly to help yourself get back to normal, and we overdo it sometimes. So this is just 3 times on this graph. So you can see that if this happens to you 3 times in a day, that's probably going to be a little stressful for your body. You're going to have mood swings, you're going to have sugar cravings, energy crashes, it can lead to depression. But what about if you do this like 6 times a day? So the nutritionists and the American Diabetes Association and all these groups, they do recommend sometimes people eat 5 to 6 meals a day. So what if you had 5 or 6 of these spikes every day? That's probably not going to be the best thing for your body. And this is super key moving forward, because we have to understand that if your body keeps crashing like this and it starts to adapt, what it's going to do is it's going to make you insulin resistant. It will create a situation where your cells aren't going to be able to accept that insulin as much, because it doesn't want you to crash, because it's so dangerous for your body. So when people talk about insulin resistance, it's actually your body adapting to try to save you, because it doesn't want you to have these crashes. So we're going to talk a lot more about insulin resistance in the future. So not totally applied to this particular handout. But I do want you to start to think that if a person does this for many, many years, and they're doing this spike and crash 3 to 6 times a day, that's a long-term situation where your body is building up some resistance to the insulin, and it can lead to prediabetes and type 2 diabetes. So anyway, that is the story with how the blood sugar roller coaster works. And so we want to aim to keep the blood sugar as close into the green zone as possible, making sure the roller coaster doesn't get crazy and out of control. We're as level as we possibly can. And so the solution is basically on the last page of this booklet that I put together. So I'm going to take this off. We'll stop the share, and then I'm just going to chat for a little bit. So on the last page of this guide, it is a printable page that you can actually take with you when you leave the house. If you work, you can bring it to work. If you're on the run, just as a reminder of how you can keep your blood sugar stable with what you eat. So the main thing we do is we add fiber, fat, and protein to every single meal that we eat, including snacks. It's kind of a mantra. If you can do fat, fiber, and protein every time you eat something, you will be able to maintain sort of your blood sugar balance in between the meals, so you don't have to snack so much, and you're going to feel satisfied, and you're not going to get these spikes and crashes that will give you that sort of afternoon issue with not having energy. So fiber, I recommend that you eat about 30 grams of fiber per day. And so vegetables have a ton of fiber, so I always recommend eating them at every meal if possible. And some other things that maybe could give you fiber are beans, lentils, chia seeds, green peas, maybe some sweet potato. Now, again, everybody's going to be in a different place, but there is fiber in whole foods. So instead of, having a slice of toast, which is going to be a very processed sort of flour that enters the bloodstream quickly, maybe we can switch to something like a sweet potato because it's in its full food form. It hasn't been ground down and condensed. Okay. So some sweet potatoes, okay. For some people, to each his own, when we start talking about bio-individuality, but that's for later. Okay, so next we're going to add fat. So what kind of fats can we add? We can drizzle oils on our salads, even our vegetables. It tastes delicious. Just some right out of the bottle, healthy olive oil. Remember, we don't do canola oil here, and I do have a list of healthy oils that you can talk to us about later if you have questions at the end. Um, and then the protein. Okay, so let's talk about protein. So we've already added fat. We've talked about fiber, and so we're going to do protein, at least 20 to 30 grams, maybe even a little bit more, depending on your size. And that's going to be about the size of the palm of your hand at each meal, if it's, say, a piece of meat. But there's all sorts of great proteins that you can eat. You can have salmon, any kind of fish. You can do tinned tuna and such if you're short on time, to make things convenient. But right on this sheet, I do have suggestions for breakfast, for lunch, and for dinner. And then when we're talking about snacks, the goal is to eat 3 times a day. So if we can eat fat, fiber, and protein at a very healthy, balanced meal, we probably won't need to snack as much. But in the beginning, if you do need to snack, don't worry about it. Just have something that has fiber, fat, and protein in the snack. So like a hard-boiled egg. Maybe you want to do vegetables and hummus. So that's a lot of fiber in those things and even a little bit of protein. And then maybe some apple and cheese slices. That was another suggestion I had on here. So again, this is just kind of the beginning place to start when you're with us here in the group. What I suggest in this booklet is to join the Blood Sugar Blues group, ask any questions you might have, and just stay on and learn. We have a ton of free materials in the files section of the group. And then once you've seen this video, I'm sure most of you will be watching the replay, and just ask any questions you have on it. And if you don't have the guide, just send me a note and I will send it off to you. So I am going to stop the recording. And thanks for joining us.